Hi everybody. For this week I just wanted to give you a few tips about collecting your Tiger data and getting it all into one file in StatCrunch. So to start with, we're in week 3. So these are the assignments that you have to do this week. And what I want to talk about is this last one for the Unit 1 project, which just says data collection. Now for that one, you need to have come up with a sampling plan. If you started collecting data without a sampling plan, then you may have to go back and redo it because your data collection may not be giving you a good statistical sample. So make sure that you've sent me that sampling plan first and looked at my feedback and fixed anything you need to fix before you actually start going out and tranquilizing tigers in the game. Once you do, remember that if you're using 2 different missions in the game, so if you're using both mission 1 and mission 2, then you need to keep track of which mission you're collecting things from as you collect it. So what that means is that in the game, you can put the specifics about the mission 1 or mission 2 either in your player name or in your class name. You have to do it there to keep track of it because the game itself doesn't keep track of which mission you're playing in. So when you go and look at the data the game collected for you, it won't say anything about which mission. So unless you just remember which time you were collecting data from which mission, you're not going to have any idea. The first thing is that in the game, when you tell it to get game data, it's just going to take you to this page. This has everybody's data. And this has a lot of people from our class, but it can include people from other places as well. So you can see everybody's data is in here. If I want to find my data, this is where it helps if I remember the player name I put in. So I put mine in under Nancy. So I'm just going to put Nancy in the search bar here under player name, and then it shows me my data. So these are all mine right here, and I even have some down here where I put my name in as Nancy R. But the ones I'm interested in are these first 3. And notice in these ones, I put as my class name whether it was mission 1 or mission 2, so I can tell which one it is. So I'm going to take these 3 files and put them together in StatCrunch, combine them as one file. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So if you go all the way over to the right side of this, over here it has CSV, HTML, and XML. And before, in the previous assignment where you were just looking at the data, I had you pull it up as HTML. If you do it that way though, it's a lot harder to copy it into StatCrunch. So for this, probably the easiest way is to click where it says CSV. If you click that, it's going to give you a file to download. You don't actually have to download it. You can just open it. And unless your computer doesn't have Excel, it's going to actually open in Excel, and that's fine. So for this first one, I'm going to highlight this whole thing, including the column headings, and I'm going to do a right click and copy it. And then I'm going to go to StatCrunch, and I already went out and opened StatCrunch. So in StatCrunch here, I'm just going to click on Open StatCrunch so that it opens a blank data editor for me. Now what I want to do is I want to get those column headings copied up here into this top row so that they're not down here in the actual data rows. I want them to be up here instead of the var1, var2, and so on. So I'm going to highlight up here, and then I'm going to do, and this one won't do a right click right here, so I'm just going to do a Control V to tell it to paste. Now the other thing I can do is I can click on Data and Load, and I can say from paste, and then I can do my right click here and I can do paste. So either way that should work. I'm going to go back here and just click up here, and I'm just going to do a Control V just to make this faster. Okay, so that pasted my column headings into this top row above the data. It pasted my data in here. Now, if you can't get that to work, You can always just type your column headings in up here if you can't get it to paste it in there right. If you end up with a row in your data that has those column headings, go ahead and delete it because it's really going to mess things up if you have that in there. If you need to delete a row, just go over here to the left and click on it so that it's highlighted in pink. And then you can go Edit, Rows, and Delete. And it'll ask you if you want to delete the row that you selected. So it's the pink row that it's talking about. If you click on Compute, then it'll delete that row. So if you need to delete something, that's how you do it. Now, the other thing I want to do before I go on with this is I want to add another column over here that tells me what mission this data was from. So I'm going to add another column over here. I'm just going to call it Mission. And this was my first data set on the top here. That was for Mission 1. So I'm just going to put 1s in all those spots. Now I want to go back and get my other data set. My next one was for Mission 2. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to click on CSV over here. Then I'm going to click on Open. Now this time I'm just going to highlight the data. I don't need the column headings this time, so I'm not going to highlight those. So I'm just highlighting the data and I'm doing Copy. And then I'm going back to StatCrunch right here in the next blank row, and I'm going to do Control V so that it will paste. Now in my mission, this one came from Mission 2, so I'm going to put 2s in for the mission. Okay, then I had one more file. This one is from Mission 1. So same thing, I'm going to click the CSV, click on Open. I'm going to highlight just the data. And I can either do a right click and copy, or I just did a Control C. And then I'm going to go over here and do a Control V so that it will paste. And then I'm going to put 1s over here because that said it was from Mission 1. So now I have my data in here. And obviously you're going to have a lot more since you were supposed to collect at least 40 tigers. But this is just a quick thing to show you how to do this. Now probably before you do anything else, you should save your data set. Because if you do all this work and then you exit out of this without saving it, then you just have to do it all over again. So to save this, you want to go to Data and Save. Give it a file name so that you'll know what it is. And then just save it. So now that's going to be in your own My Data folder. The other thing that you might want to do with this, because we've got these two qualitative variables, the region and the mission, it's going to be kind of hard to have those two qualitative ones when you get to doing analysis later on. So if you want to put those together into one column, that's going to help you for some things. One way that you can do this is click on Data and Arrange. And what we want to do is take two columns and combine them. So I'm doing Data, Arrange, Combine. Now before I do this, I kind of have to decide what I want it to look like. I could just make it the region and then the mission. So I'd have something like a 3-1 or a 1-1 or something like that. I can make it a little bit fancier. I can put space in between the two, or I can put some other character in between the two. It's however you want to do this. Just keep in mind that both the region and the mission are actually categorical variables. So the one thing you don't want to do is something like adding them together, because you wouldn't be able to tell what that was. So what I decided I want to do is I want to put the region first and then the mission. So I'm doing a Control click so that I can get both of those on there. So I'm going to take those two columns and combine them. And I think I just want to put a space between the two. So what this is going to do is it's going to put the region number first, and then a space, and then the mission number. I'm going to call this RM for region and mission. So if I click on compute, then I've got my new column. Now this, since I put the space in there, it's going to automatically look at it as being a qualitative variable or a categorical variable. And once I've put that in, I want to go back and save my data again because I added that column. And I just want to overwrite the file that I already had because I just added something to it.